evening Moscow time is when the meeting between Rajnath Singh and his Chinese counterpart is going to take place. Let's look at what's on the agenda. In this report, we're going to tell you about how the Indian government is approaching these talks. And let's never forget, India is taking nothing for granted, nothing at face value. The Chinese have been known to talk before and ask for talks before when they are on the back foot or when they want to mask their true intent. Take a look at this. China on the back foot. China striking a peaceful note. Or plain old Chinese mind games. China wants to talk, and following a request from their defense minister, India's Rajnath Singh will be meeting with his counterpart in Moscow today. The meeting comes after the Indian Army's decisive actions in eastern Ladakh, storming dominant heights and putting Chinese aggressions on notice. You might be wondering, what are these talks about? What's China's real game here? This is, after all, a country that has mounted serial aggressions in Ladakh while pretending to hold military-level discussions. So why has it now requested a meeting between defense ministers? Let's look closely at those possibilities we began this report with. Is China on the back foot? While conflict is never as simple as that, it is undeniable that the Indian Army's recent preemptive actions have caught China off guard. They weren't expecting the normally defensive Indian Army to take aggressive initiatives to turn the table. The next option is China striking a peaceful note. Once again, this needs to be looked at very carefully. A country that has invested enormously in the Ladakh aggression couldn't have suddenly had a change of heart, though there is the outside chance that an aggressive Indian army has shown the Chinese what the costs of such a misadventure could be. Finally, could the request for a meeting be part of familiar old mind games that are standard operating procedure for the Chinese, where they mask devious military intent with the semblance of diplomatic outreach? If that is the case, it wouldn't be the first time. There's a full track record for such duplicity. When Prime Minister Modi met with Chinese Premier Xi Jinping for the first time in July 2014 at the BRICS summit in Brazil, the Chinese army was busy mounting intrusions in Ladakh's Chumar and Demchok areas. 2 months later, when the Chinese Premier arrived in Ahmedabad for his first summit with the Indian PM, the lilting images of the two leaders on the banks of the Sabarmati River were offset by Chinese incursions in Depsang in northern Ladakh. The famous Wuhan summit in 2018 was to reset ties and create a new framework that could lead to an end to the border dispute. But even as the two leaders met in Wuhan, the Chinese military was busy violating airspace in Ladakh. And finally last year, when the Chinese Premier met with the Indian Prime Minister outside Chennai in Mahabalipuram for some very memorable atmospherics, the Chinese army was busy violating protocols at Pangong, the beginnings of the build-up to the current standoff that began just months later. Of course, the Indian government is well aware of the Chinese playbook and also recognizes that India speaks from a position of strength. But in the larger game of Chinese checkers, history has taught India never to take anything at face value, especially when trust is non-existent. Bureau Report, India Today.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.